guys, welcome back to another episode on our how to make a RNG series. I'm so sorry for not posting in a while. I have been sick the past week and I'm still kind of sick, but I'm feeling a lot better. So in this episode I will be doing the accept and decline button and maybe some extra stuff if we have the time. So first of all, if we head into our starter GUI inside our button bar, then into our holder and to our roll button, we are gonna open up the rolling handler. Because in here I have been adjusting the animated roll a bit. I can show you this real quick. So what I've basically did is hidden the rarity down here, and it only shows up as soon as you're finished with the roll. Right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna add this line up here. What this basically does is it makes the aura name title inside the rolling background right here. It's gonna change this to be full size in the main roll. And then later down, I have moved this aura rarity, text transparency 0, which was up here, all the way down here. As well as the aura name, which you have to add down here with the size. You have to add those two lines. As I said before, right, this tween was up here, so you gotta move it just down. You can do this by hitting Ctrl X and then down here Ctrl V. Right, that's basically it, what I've done for the rolling handler. And so we are gonna do UI real quick. I know you guys don't like doing UI, but you know, we just have to do what we have to do. So open up our inventory, because we can directly steal our buttons from there. Go into the holder F, then into the button holder, inner, then we can copy this equip button with Ctrl Z, head inside our rolling background, make this visible. And inside our main roll, if we go ahead and hit Ctrl V, you will see the button up here, but we want it to be down here below this actual main roll. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a position of 0.5 and 1, like this, so it's down here. You can even move it a bit further down, so maybe 1.25. That's a bit far, I would say, so 1.15 should probably be enough. Yeah, that looks good. So in the size, we're gonna not do 1.9, but instead 1.35 probably. For the scale, for the vertical scale, we're gonna do 0.2, so it's a bit bigger. Yeah, I like the scale. You can also adjust this however you'd like. Really depends on what you prefer. Then if you found a good enough size, I think I will keep this. Where was it? 0.25 and 0.225. I will keep this right here. We can move this with the anchor point to 0.25. Probably a bit less. Maybe actually 0.25 is fine. But this position right here, if we adjust it, this also needs to be. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I think this. Yeah, the anchor point stays 0, but this position right here we can change. So since we have a size of 0.25, we could do 0.2 on the horizontal, so it's right here. And if we duplicate this and set this to let me think, 0.55. You can see there is a big gap in between. You can adjust this however you'd like. I think we're gonna do 0.525 right here, and on this 225, so it's a bit nearer. Yeah, I like this. So one of these buttons is obviously gonna change. This is gonna be the decline button, and this one is gonna be the accept button. So the left one is the accept and this the decline. For the accept, we're gonna go in here, inside temp and then title. It's gonna be changing to accept. And for the decline button, we're gonna do the same thing. So go inside here, change this to decline. Then we're changing this to a red color. So inside the UI gradient, open up this menu and change it to a red color. Like this. Same for the UI stroke. And there you go. Those are your buttons that you're gonna be needing. So you can go ahead and close off this rolling background. The accept and decline button can stay visible for now, because we're gonna be turning them off anyways. So if you go inside the rolling handler again, up here at the main roll, we're firstly gonna be getting into the rolling background and the main roll. So we can do main roll, wait for child, accept button. This is gonna be dot visible false. Same goes for the main roll, wait for child, decline button. This also has to be invisible. Then if you go further down, let's say right here, you can basically copy both of those lines and just make them visible for now. If you go ahead and click play, you can see they are not visible until it's the last roll, then they appear. But this is one more issue that we have, that we're not making them invisible again. But that is gonna be a simple fix, because after this animate roll, we are manually closing off the GUI after 3 seconds. And that's not what we're gonna do. So we are gonna do a second function right here. This is gonna be closed GUI for now, like this. And then you can go down here and copy all of this all the way down to this line. I think actually right here where there's the cooldown frame. Wait, let me think. Actually, yeah, we can grab this as well. So go ahead and just copy all of this with Ctrl X and clean up those lines. There you go. Up here in the closed UI, paste them in. All the variables are gonna be defined up here, so you don't need to worry about this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down here and say close GUI. What this is gonna do is it instantly closes the GUI as soon as we have an aura. There you go. It already broke because I think attempt to index nil with find first child, main roll. Yeah, we didn't define this. Alright, grab this, paste this inside closed GUI. And this should be fixed again. But just to be clear, we're gonna do a quick task.wait with 0.1, just so there's a little delay. Okay, one more problem. The NGUI, right? We don't have this table. So I guess what we can do. Yeah, so we are gonna go inside here. This closed bracket, we can just grab the NGUI like this and make sure that this is a column table like this. So it requires a table. Then down here in the closed GUI, all you gotta do is send in the NGUI like this. So if we were to hit roll, you can see it closes even if you have the inventory opened. There we go. This works. Next up, now that we can close the GUI whenever we'd like, we are gonna do 2 functions. actually, no, we're not gonna do two functions. We are gonna do, first of all, main role, wait for child accept button, dot activated and not connect, but we can do once. So what this does is it doesn't connect to a click every time. It only activates once as soon as we've pressed this button. So if I'm not wrong, if I just grab a print real quick, like this, we can hit play. If I were to roll and hit the accept button, you can see that it prints clicked accept, but it cannot click again. So it only prints once. That's fine with me. If we then go ahead and close the GUI using the end GUI as the bracket, what this does now, if we hit accept, oh, something broke. Alright, I'm dumb. I said end GUI and then end GUI again. Obviously this has to be closed GUI. So if we were to roll, decline doesn't do anything, but accept clicks accept and closes the UI. If I were to roll again and hit accept, it only inserts this print statement once. Now that I'm thinking about it, we probably have to turn off these buttons right here again. So down here, I guess right below this, sure, just turn off those for now. We can make them invisible. Go ahead and play. And if right, yeah, there we go, they disappear. That's fine. So now we are at the point where we actually have to script those two buttons. Right. So down here, you obviously have the accept button, and the decline button is way easier. So we're gonna do that first. Obviously, we're just gonna do decline button with the closed GUI inside here. And that's everything, that's the entire code. Because we don't actually have to do anything if we just do decline. Alright. Now for the accept button. If we were to start our game, we'd have a player with the player data and obviously the inventory and so on and so forth. So if we were to open up our player, you can see we have the player stats, the inventory, and in here every int value, make sure this is an int value, of the possible auras that we could have. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do local player stats like this. I'm gonna quickly make sure that we don't have this defined yet. So we can do player and the player itself. Do we not have that? We don't have that. Alright. So we're firstly gonna do local player, which is players.local player. And in here, I just realized we cannot do this over a local script because if we change the data on our local script, it's not actually gonna change on the server, which means it doesn't save. So what we're gonna do is inside replicated search and remotes, we are gonna add a remote event. And this remote event we are gonna call accept aura. So go ahead and go into the replicated storage. I think we already have, yeah, remotes, wait for child and accept aura. What we're gonna do is fire server with the, let me think. So we have, I need to check this out real quick because I actually haven't looked at this code in a while, so give me like a minute. Alright, so I'm back. All we have to do is go ahead and do result. This result is a table, obviously, and inside this table is every aura that you have rolled. All you have to do is go ahead and insert a bracket like this, make sure it is cornered like that, and then we can do the number of results actually. So this is the last index of the actual roll. So if we were to print out this before to make sure that we have the correct result, we can go ahead and hit play, click roll, and this should print out a common. There we go. That's correct. Now all we have to do is go inside our server script service and to our server rolling, because in here we are gonna do a local function. Actually no, not a local function, but we are gonna do a separate remote. So this is gonna be the accept aura, remotes wait for child accept aura, and up here we can do accept aura on server event, connect this to a function, there we go, like this, and in here we are gonna do the player as well as the aura table. Actually, let's do aura info, and like this. Now we can do print player.name as well as the aura info. If we were to hit play, we should be getting both the data, so which player sends in the remote as well as the data. That's correct. Back inside the server rolling, we have not grabbed the player service, so we can do this. Local players is gonna be get service and then players. Down here we are gonna do players. I think you can do find first child and then the player.name like this. This is gonna be our local. Oh wait, no, I'm dumb. So this player actually already grabs the player instance itself. So we can do local player stats like this, and this has to be player find first child player stats. Then local inf for short, we can do player stats find first child inventory. So if I'm not wrong, we can do repeat tasks await and then until inventory. So it waits until you actually found a inventory. This could break, hold on, I just realized that. Just make sure that you can print out the type of inventory so we can find it. Go ahead and roll. If we get a instance or a instance, so it found the inventory, that's perfect. If it would have printed a error, then it couldn't find it. So now that we have the inventory, we can do for I, v in pairs inventory get children. So we're looping through every aura that you have already in the backpack or the inventory. And now you can do if v.name is equal to the aura info 1 or the name of the aura. So if it found it, then what we're gonna do, v.value, I think, yeah, we can do this, is just gonna do plus equal 1. Exactly like this. Otherwise, if it didn't find it, actually no, that's dumb. Yeah, so we're gonna do a separate variable up here, f aura for found aura, that's gonna be false. And up here we are gonna do f aura like this, which is gonna be equal to true. So basically, if it already found the aura and added 1 to the value, it's gonna toggle this true. But if it didn't find any, then it's not gonna do anything. So down here, if it didn't find any aura, we're gonna add the aura manually. So local new aura is equal to instance.new int value, and parent this to the inventory itself. This new aura is gonna be set to the aura info 1. Sorry, new aura.name, like this. And then new aura.value is gonna be 1, because you don't have had any before. Right, if I'm not wrong, we can open up the player. Going to player stats and inventory. We can click roll. I rolled a uncommon, I don't have this in the inventory. Hit accept. And I've got a uncommon. If I were to roll something else, okay, I didn't have a basic, that's kind of dumb. If I were to roll something else, thank you. You can see I have one singular common. Hit accept, and I have 2 now. Obviously, we have to refresh the inventory every time we open it or every time we get a new aura. But I think if we just refresh it as soon as we've opened it, that's gonna be fine. So close every other script and go inside our inventory handler. Inside here, we actually already have the code that we need to refresh it, because this is player stats, this is the inventory, and it grabs every aura, blah blah blah, and we have everything. So all we have to do is hit tab as soon as we selected all of those. So it's gonna move 1 up and do local function load inventory, like this, down here at the end, and that's fine. All you have to do is do load inventory down here, and it loads the inventory as soon as you open the game. Then we need a second function for a clear inventory. So this is gonna be the main holder. So for I, v in pairs main holder get children. Inside the main holder, I think the main holder has a UI list layout inside, so we have to make sure that we don't actually clear that, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, the main holder has a UI list layout. So you can do for I, v in pairs, check if v is a UI list layout, then just make sure to check if it's not a UI list layout. Then we can do v destroy, and that's fine. So what this does is it clears basically everything inside the main holder except the UI list layout. That's perfect. So up here in the load inventory, we're gonna do clear. Oh wait, we cannot do clear inventory because we actually have to move this function above this load inventory. Now we can say clear inventory. That's fine. Alright. So it clears the inventory right before it loads it. And then we can go ahead and let me think. Right, we need to find this inventory button inside side buttons first. So this is gonna be a pain to find it. Local side buttons is gonna be script.parent wait for child side buttons, and then local inf button is gonna be the side buttons, wait for child background, and wait for child inventory. So now that we have this inventory button, we can connect this up to the inventory button, activated connect to a function, And all you have to do is say load inventory. That's it. So if we were to click this, it loads the inventory. I can roll something. Let's say I got a common. I would have 3 commons if I'm not wrong. There you go, 3 commons. But if I close this up and open it again, you can see it refreshed and I have 3 commons. That's completely fine. So I would say thank you guys for watching. This has already been a 30-minute episode, and I'm gonna see you in the next episode, hopefully this week again, or maybe next week, I don't know yet. So again, thanks for watching. The game jam inside my Discord server is still going on, so if you're interested in, playing a game jam, I guess, you can just join my Discord. Link is in the description, and I hope to see some good games in June, I would say. Yeah, so thanks again for watching. I'm sorry that I haven't posted in a while, and goodbye.